Today is Saturday, June 19th, 2021. Happy Juneteenth. It's the first time we're celebrating this brand new federal holiday that Joe Biden quickly signed into law 2 days ago. A special shout out to Opal Lee, the Texas woman who spent decades of her life fighting to make this happen. And now in her 90s, it finally has. I said in the last segment that it was Saturday morning, but it was actually yesterday, Friday morning. It's turning out to be a lazy Saturday, and it just started to rain, so my plans to cut the grass have been hosed for the time being. I feel sluggish, 12 hours of filming, but not overnight. We finished at 12:30 a.m. I'm trying something new here. I'm recording the first part of this as a video blog just to see what it looks like to both view and listen to my podcast. I'll post this on my personal YouTube channel and see how people react. And then maybe down the road, I'll tackle a video blog instead of just a podcast. It's an enormous amount of work because it's not just about the content and how it sounds, it's about what people will see, and a picture or video is worth 1,000 words. 2 scenes in the same city center, one in daylight, one at night. I ran into the usual friends, Red Notice Maria, Lily, Rowella, Vivian, and Catherine. But alas, my friend Maria from MacGyver was there as well. I'll call her MacGyver Maria to keep the two Marias distinct. And we met a guy named Alex from Athens who works at the university. He's quite jovial and takes time off to do this work. His 3 sons are grown and moved out. He and his girlfriend are fixing up their house, but having some disagreements. Oh, and I met a woman named Cleopatra from Cairo, Egypt. She has black braided hair and a few streaks of blonde. She was eating a really small piece of yellow fruit that looked like a small cherry tomato and was bitter, and whose name begins with a J. What is this? I have never seen people who have interacted on social media meet for the first time in the real world, but it happened twice. MacGyver Maria knew my friend Vivian online, but they had never met for real. And then the Alex guy turned out to be someone in the same boat, although I think Maria may have also met him years ago on another project. Here's a warning. Before you marry someone, figure out how you're going to decorate your house, especially if you have different tastes. Are you going to compromise on each room, divvy up the rooms, or let one partner have total control? This really matters in the end. If you compromise on each room, they end up looking like a blend of who knows what. If you divvy up the rooms, then your house will lack design continuity. It's probably best to give one partner total control with limited input from the other in order to have a cohesive overall design. Alex is questioning his girlfriend's desire to put bunny wallpaper on the accent wall in their bedroom. He told her he has to see this before he decides and agrees on whether they'll put it up or not. The day scene was much easier this time. Catherine and I had to walk to an ATM and get money out, do some shop browsing, and then visit a coffee stand. But that changed quickly before we even shot the scene. I was promoted to scooter valet. The coffee woman was hired elsewhere, and Catherine was left walking alone. Being the scooter valet was so easy. I have never had a role where I literally just sat there and did nothing except play with a pen. It gave me the chance to look around me and observe what everyone else was doing, which was neat. When they yelled background, I lifted the pen and began moving it around with my right hand. When they yelled reset, I put it down. First I had no customers, but then I had 2 women looking but deciding not to rent. And then they had Maria come up to me and discuss rentals. You get to make up your dialogue, so I was pointing out the different colors and how most of them didn't work because they were over 40 years old, and that she might want to just walk around instead of scootering. Cleopatra popped in at one point somehow, although she wasn't with Maria. Oh, actually, before all this happened, Catherine kept coming over to chat between shoots, and then it happened. I know I've advised to treat principal actors as if they were not even there. But when you're a huge fan of Pierce Brosnan and he starts walking towards you, you pretty much poop your pants. He walked toward us and went about 10 feet away, smiled and said hello, to which we both said hi back. It's that simple. You just treat them like any other friendly human being. They had no little battery-powered fan for him, so someone was fanning him with a paper one, and another person held a black umbrella over him to shield him from the sun, although it was pretty overcast all day. The big joke was that when a trash can appears on set, you have no idea whether it's part of the set or real or both. So the metal trash cans on the set were being filled with trash, although it appeared they were just for looks. Our coffee woman was a real jokester, and we laughed about how she would make our coffee for us, although it was set up as a self-serve because of COVID, although we were not sure COVID existed in the scene. And we noticed that there was a law office in the building, noted on one of the doorbells, at which point I threatened to hire them to sue her if I burned myself on the too hot coffee as someone had done to McDonald's years ago. Catherine also told me a story of being sexually harassed, or at least inappropriately ogled, on the set of the ballet. She told Central Casting as she was on the set, and it got back to the person, and he apologized. I told her how I had stumbled onto the Los Angeles portion of the Central Casting website this week, where a huge warning appears to say that until you complete online sexual harassment training, you cannot work any projects. This is not true for Georgia, but it should be. The night scene was so much better. The city looked a million times more alive with color and lights. This time it was paired with MacGyver Maria, and again, another trip to an ATM. We were on the other side of the town rotary looking for a place to eat. The ATMs were really dirty and non-functioning, and she didn't want to touch them. I thought our initial conversations last March were deep, but we went to the next level this time, discussing retirement and children and being a parent. She became a grandmother twice in 2020, as both her daughter and stepson had babies. In the final scene, which they called the martini shot, she had never heard this book before, we got to sit down at a cafe for dinner. Although we didn't work all night and I was in bed by 1:30 a.m., I still feel like crap today. My alarm went off at 6 a.m. It's normal time, but I slept until 8:30 and then rushed out to get sugar without showering at all. I still firmly believe that your body is a temple and you need to take care of it and respect it, and that means not shocking it by staying up late and sleeping less than you normally do. Next week is up in the air. Although I was booked for Monday, Alessia Hardigan Casting sent some new emails saying they need 100 people for Wednesday instead. I declined an offer to do a single drunk female next week. It doesn't sound like a project I'd want to be associated with. The role is to be a St. Patty's Day pedestrian in an exterior shot. I wonder if they'll have lots of people fake drinking beer and pretending to be sloshed. That's something I've never done. My homework this week for Business Video School is to follow video influencers from a list provided and observe their profiles and videos. This class is teaching me a lot about being compelling on video and engaging your audience, so hopefully this will improve this podcast, but it may be too little too late. It almost feels disingenuous to pretend to be more animated than you really are just to get podcast listeners and YouTube subscribers, and that presents a real moral dilemma for me, because my mantra in life is to be exactly who I was meant to be. When I initially began to explore these people on social media, for many of them, within 10 seconds, I stopped watching because I was completely turned off, which made me realize that you'll attract some people and may repel others, but you should never change who you really are just to attract people who otherwise wouldn't be interested in you.